Yesterday I saw some extraordinary quotes from Francesco Totti about Juventus's 3-2 win over his side Roma. Let me read them out to you. He says, "For years, the same old incidents keep happening. I don't know if we were beaten by referees, but we certainly were not beaten by Juventus tonight. This was a match we really cared about, but Juventus ought to have their own league, as by hook or by crook, they always win. Are we back to the same doubts?" He's talking about doubts about Juventus possibly bribing referees or cheating somehow, calciopoli, something along those lines. "I'm not the only one saying this, as these are the things everyone in Italy should discuss. With Juventus, when there is any doubt whatsoever, it's always a penalty." These are some amazing claims, but let me contextualise them. This is me, Joel, Messi Seconds, whatever you want to call me, on Francesco Totti, Juventus versus Roma, and refereeing in Italy. In Italy, referees are seen as far more central figures to the game. This has been happening since like 1960s time, Catenaccio era. Catenaccio was an Italian very defensive tactic. It's where the idea of the Italians being really defensive comes from. The idea was that if you shout "Mamma Mia" at the referee, if you do all that crazy thing, then the referee might not give the decision that time, but later on in the game, he might give you a favourable decision that might impact on the amount of points you get from the game, since the games were quite low scoring. And if you get more points in that game, then over the league season, you're likely to get more points. Talking about referees in Italian culture really isn't new. They have TV shows devoted to it, they have massive newspaper articles where they run statistical pieces on even the smallest refereeing decisions. Their referees appear in Adidas adverts alongside Beckham and Zidane. It's a big deal. Here's my attempt to explain what Totti's trying to say. In Italy, referees are picked via a two-man panel. One of the men is known to be backed by the powerful clubs Juventus and Milan, and the theory is that Juventus rarely get the more famous referees, the more experienced ones, because if they pick perhaps weaker referees, referees who are easier to manipulate, their players can manipulate the referee's decisions, and that can end up in a higher points tally. Famous referees, or any referees that have given significant decisions against Juventus, have been known to end up in Serie B instead of Serie A, which is their top division. The other reason Totti is saying this, and the reason why Juventus fans feel that they're picked on quite a lot, is because they do have a sort of precedent. Not only do you have Calciopoli in 2006, which a lot of people debate whether that was a legitimate case or not, but I'm not going to get into that now. Let me read out some things that I was saying on Twitter earlier. Politicians have screamed that referees drive fiats, the reference being that the Agnellis, the owners of Juventus, who are often called the unofficial Italian monarchy, like they rule over Berlusconi. He's not ruler at the moment, but you know what I mean. One of their major companies is Fiat. We know without a doubt that in the past the Agnellis have bribed politicians. They've admitted it. Ironically for Totti, when Roma gave Italy's top referees all a Rolex, none of them voluntarily returned it. A number of tragic decisions from referees have led to Juventus winning the title. There are clips of penalties that never should have gone in, goals against Juventus that passed the line but were never counted. In '98, this was particularly bad. Several Serie A sides were denied key decisions, whilst Juve, despite committing the most fouls in the league, registered the lowest number of red cards. I hope that summarises the anti-Juventus feeling from some Italian fans, including Totti, but it wouldn't be a Messi Seconds video, a video from myself, if I didn't show you the other side of the coin. I hope that you come here to form an opinion, not just to get mine. Firstly, there is no direct evidence of Juventus bribing referees or doing anything similar. These claims often come up, and they're interesting narratives, and some of them seem to make sense, but very often, at the end of it, there's just no evidence there. The Agnellis have given briberies, but firstly, these aren't footballing briberies, they're just business ones of their own. They admitted, I think, $35 million worth of bribes from Fiat over a 10-year period, but this was just a feature of Italian business in the post-war period, pre-90s, when the Italians cleaned up their act. And of course, at a human level during this interview, Totti is just a Roma fan who's frustrated at his team losing to a few influential but pretty forgivable refereeing decisions. That's my take on it. I hope you enjoyed. I recently restarted a project called The 12th Men, where a group of your favourite tweeters get together live during the game and talk about it with a heavy emphasis on trying to be fun, trying to be insightful, and most of all with interacting with you guys, the viewers. So subscribe please, not only to this channel, but also to that channel. All the links for that will be in the description. The background's a bit funny. Usually I use green screen. I've moved into university, and welcome to my room. Otherwise, that's enough spam, and hopefully I'll see you later.